I have incredibly interesting conversations with children. Like whenever I go in any sort of public situation, if I'm on like a sidewalk, pretty much what always happens is a child will see me and then he or she will turn to their mother and be like, "Mommy, that man's leg fell off!" Ah! And they start screaming, and the parent starts dragging the child away. And they're like, "I told you never to stare at people who are different!" And it's this big scene. Everybody's like, "What's happening?" And it's so awkward. I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I should never come in public." And sometimes, you know, kids will come up to me and be like, "How did your leg fall off?" And like, I had cancer, but I don't know like how to explain to them what cancer is, or maybe they don't know what cancer is yet. So I have to say something weird like, "Oh, like my leg was sick. Like, have you ever been sick?" But like not the way that you were sick. Totally different. I'm just not good. Like, I don't know how to explain it. But a few months ago, I was walking on the sidewalk where I live in Santa Monica, and a child walks by. She turns to her mom. She's like, "Mommy, that man's leg fell off." And the mom does not skip a beat. She's like, "Yeah, that happens sometimes." And the girl, she's like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, I could have been saying that to children for the past 20 years, just lie. "Oh, yeah, it happens. Like limbs, they fall off sometimes. It's part of adulthood." Tell you when you're older. But yeah, it's weird. But I mean, I have like pretty interesting conversations with adults too, and especially with adults or just like, you know, teenagers or grown-ups. I'm like, I don't know. This seems like a weird question. For example, a few years ago, I was talking to this girl about my artificial leg, which I was wearing at the time, right? And I was talking to her about like how it works. She was asking me like what it's made out of, and eventually she looks down at the prosthesis and she's like, "Is the foot fake too?" Yes. One time I was walking where I used to live in Washington, D.C. You'll see that pretty much every interesting thing that's ever happened to me happens on a sidewalk. So I was walking on the sidewalk like this, no prosthesis on. A guy comes up, he like taps me on the shoulder, and I turn towards him, and he's like, "How come you don't have a prostate?" Yeah. That's a very personal question. One time, though, I was talking to this guy. It was actually on my third date with this girl, Ashley, back when I lived in Washington, D.C., and we were in this restaurant, and this guy sitting beside me was asking me some questions about my leg. I had my crutches on the ground, and eventually he's like, "So how long is it going to be until, you know?" And I was like, "No, I don't know. Like, what are you asking me?" And he's like, "Well, how long is it going to be until your leg grows back?" What? Like, do I look like a starfish to you? Like, what? I don't know how in his life experience, like, he thought that's a thing that happens. Limbs, they regenerate. It's just like, you know, Rogaine for limbs. Just 3 out of 4 men, it works fantastic. I don't know. I don't understand these questions. But it's not like people don't always ask weird questions. Like, sometimes people are genuinely, I think, coming from a really great place and really trying to help, but it doesn't work out the way they thought it would. I was flying to a speech last year, and when I checked in at the airport, the woman who checked me in, she says, "Because you have one leg, I have upgraded you to a seat with extra leg room." It's like, I appreciate the sentiment, like, thank you, that was kind. I just don't know what I am going to do with all of this extra leg room. I'm going to be on the flight like, "Oh, yeah, this is great, like, all this leg room." One good thing about having one leg is a sentence you probably haven't heard before, is this. How many of you are like me when you go to the movies, you like to, in order to save money, smuggle snack items like in your pockets? Do you guys do this? Yes? Okay. So I was at a movie theater a couple years ago with some of my friends, and one of my friends had, we had small snack items, but one of my friends has a 2-liter of Coca-Cola Classic. And we're like, really? Like, how did you imagine this fitting into anyone's pockets? But fortunately, I thought of this idea, right? So I was wearing shorts, but my friend was wearing sweatpants, so we switched. I put on his sweatpants, and then I took the 2-liter, and I put it inside of the left pant leg, and then I tied a knot underneath, so it hangs there and looks like my leg is cut off down here. Yeah, awesome. And I'm thinking this is like the greatest idea of all time, and I walk into the movie theater lobby, and I look down, and the 2-liter is just swinging all around. It's like so unrealistic. And I stop for the person to tear my ticket, and the 2-liter does not stop, just keeps swinging like a pendulum back and forth. People are like, look, I'm like, don't stare, that's very rude, don't stare at me. You know better. And there's a security guard specifically who's looking at me, and I feel like he maybe knows what's up. He's looking, but let's be honest, what is he going to say? Like, he's going to be like, sir, I noticed there's a problem with your leg. You are correct. I do not have one. It fell off. I don't know if you know, that happens sometimes.